Hello, everyone. I'm here to tell you a story that happened a while ago. As you can see, I got the stitches, and I'm going to tell you why in a bit. Um, so you know how dogs don't always get along, you know all that. So our two dogs, CJ and Darcy, got really don't get along. CJ is a English pointer. Darcy is a field spaniel. So what happened was I was going to get my Xbox controller, and then there's already two spaniels out. We have two spaniels actually. One's Darcy and one's Xander. Um, so I thought, so I get the controller, and then I look by CJ, and he's just staring like that at another spaniel. And I'm like, is that Xander? And then I noticed that Xander is all the way over there on the couch. And so I'm like, uh-oh. So I try and go for Darcy first, but he runs around the couch. And then I start going after CJ to get him out of the way. So I take my hand, and apparently it gets in the really wrong place, right in the middle between them. So my hand is basically stuck in the middle, and they're fighting over my hand. I guess I don't know. But they're really nice dogs, actually. So they weren't really vicious. They haven't had a history of being vicious and all that. So what I did was first I realized that my hand was in the middle was when I felt like I don't know a tooth or something like nudging into the place right there where my stitch is. And so I get my hand out of there and I look at it. I'm like, I'm fine. That'll be okay. And then, so I go into the kitchen. I turn on the light to look at it. I'm like, okay, I'm not okay. And so my dad looks at it and he says we need to go to the hospital and get it stitched and all that. And the hospital is really not a good place to be. Well, and I'll say that I'm saying this because the waiting. Oh my God. I was just sitting there while my hand was like pulsing and kind of leaking blood. It wasn't bleeding very bad, but it was hurting like really bad. I had to wait about 30 minutes. I was sitting there like a sitting frickin' duck while my hand was just hurting away. It was just sitting there, opened up. And so finally we get to the triage room where they examined it, and after talking about it, they sent us back to the waiting room, and I had to sit there for like another 45 minutes. So finally, we went to the exam room, and then so we had to. They kept on asking us the same stupid questions, like, have your dogs have their shots yet? And are you up to date with your shots? They literally asked that about 7 times when they went in. And I was sitting there while my hand was hurting in the room, like in between 7 periods of waiting. Like seriously. I was just basically sitting there. I always said that. Derp. And finally, they did something. They're like, "Oh, we're gonna have to stitch it." I'm like, "You don't say." It was really just stupid, just sitting there the whole time and all that. But it was just waiting that was killing me. Like seriously, I'm not very good at waiting under pressure, if you know what I mean. So finally, they were like, and they started asking me again, open shots and all that. And finally, they started stitching it, and the Novocaine they used stung like hell, but it was fine. So finally, they stitched it up, and it was about midnight by the time I got home. It was past midnight, actually. So it was a long night, actually. Didn't exactly plan that out, but I learned a lesson that day. Size does not matter. Anyway, that's how I got my stitches and other. Thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoy. Probably you did. Later.